Hello, Muscatine, and welcome to Muscatine in Focus. Today I'm at MPW with Mark Yerington right here. We're going to be talking about GIS technology. So without further ado, welcome. Thank you for having me here, basically. I appreciate it, Mark. And we're going to be just jumping right in, talking about GIS technology. So Mark, can you talk about the GIS technology, just kind of what it's about and how you guys came about working with it?
GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems. And it really adds that G to the IS part of a database. So G is geography, stands for geography, so it adds a spatial component that allows us to not only do database analytics, but spatial analytics with the as we overlay layers of information.
Very nice. So can you explain kind of what is happening on this map? And from my understanding, you guys had some issues with the pole wrap. You know, you had squirrels that would basically attack these fibers and there'd be fiber outages. So can you explain kind of the whole process behind that?
Yeah, so squirrels actually cause outages on the electric system and on the fiber system, we found out. Shortly after we implemented the fiber to the home technology, we had a couple of large outages caused by squirrels that were actually gnawing on the brand new large fiber lines that we had out there. So senior leadership team asked if we could help out, and we went out to look at maybe what we had as far as information available. One of the first things, we wanted the biggest bang for our buck, so we identified our largest fiber count lines. So we have up to 144 fibers in a strand of fiber. So we identified everything over that 48 count fiber. So if a squirrel, we wanted to target those poles first for as far as pole wraps go. And what a pole wrap is it's actually a black piece of plastic that you'll see on pretty well every one of our poles now that you see out on the system, and it's about at eye level. And it keeps those squirrels from climbing up the pole. Another thing that we did, if you look at the right side here, we actually used IR band of imagery so that we could pull the tree cover from that IR band. So there's a certain spectral resolution on it that you can actually just tell it, just give me that back, and it'll identify all those tree cover areas.
So the whole idea behind the pole wrap is to counteract what the squirrels are trying to do.
So the lower pole wrap, they can't come up the pole. And then we were just thinking, well, squirrels are usually in tree covered areas,
right,
and they may jump from those trees to those areas. So let's target those areas as well.
So I have to ask, why are squirrels liking fiber and other electronic wires?
What we found out after the fact is their teeth actually continue to grow. And so they're always wanting to gnaw on things. So when they got into these fiber areas, they decided to chew on this brand new fiber that we had up in the area.
And you also said the electrical component too, right?
So, yeah, so sometimes
which is not going to end well for the squirrel.
No, and we do have animal protection on a lot of our areas. It's like a plastic cover-up on the fuses so that they don't get into that, because if they cross multiple phases, it'll actually electrocute the squirrel and cause a fiber outage.
Gotcha. So, and I remember talking about this some time ago, but basically, yeah, so if a squirrel were to, let's just say, chew on electrical wire, there's disruption on 2nd Street, 2nd and Pine, it alerts the system so then everybody knows where to go to. Is that kind of the...
Yeah, so we do have real-time analytics that are monitoring our system all the time. We actually used a ONT technology, something that we implemented with the Fiber to the Home project, that's continually communicating information back to us out here. So if a squirrel were to get into an electrical area and cause an outage, we would be able to know exactly where that outage was. It would show up on there.
It'd be actually really quick compared to years ago where, you know, that happens, you're probably searching hours.
We're waiting for a phone call before.
Wow.
Yes.
And now basically you're probably going to know this before someone even gets home, and you could probably have it fixed at that point.
We would have it. We're rolling a truck as soon as we identify the area that they need to go to.
Well, that's really cool. Anything else you want to cover on the pole wrapping before we get into the next item?
No, it's really just kind of gives you that analytics that we did, being able to layer that information. You couldn't do that with just a tabular database.
Mm-hmm.
You can layer that information and target your approach and really target that high count fiber area in those areas that have a lot of tree cover where you're going to have your squirrel problems at.
I was going to say Muscatine's got a really nice tree coverage as well, just throughout. So I'm sure that's probably just going to be an ongoing thing. Hopefully it decreases with the squirrels.
Yeah,
Trying to act up.
That's what we're hoping to do. And it was and then this side kind of shows the work that's been completed, and then we can monitor how much we are completing on a day-to-day basis.
Are you able to go to an example, like click on one of those, if that's okay? So all of those would be examples of past outages, or what?
These are actually poles.
Those are actually poles.
So they started out with they were not wrapped, and then we were trying to monitor as they were wrapped. So they were all red, and then as they progressed across the city, our staff, they actually turned a different color here so that we knew what was completed. And then they knew where to go back to and start up again.
That's interesting. So if all of a sudden down by Kent Stein Park, if there's an outage, will it light up then at that spot then, or does it alert the actual team itself?
It would alert us and it would light up at that spot. If these are just the poles though, I mean, these are just where we were wrapping. But so if there was an outage, it would show a red dot in that area on all those customers.
Oh, that's really cool. Innovative. Yep. So can you talk about the GIS technology and how it's used by the field crews specifically?
Yeah, so our field staff, one of the things that they're able to do is actually connect a survey accurate GPS unit up to this tablet. So what you see here is what the field crews are using on a day-to-day basis. When they connect that up to a GPS unit, it overrides the GPS internal to this tablet and actually gives you centimeter level accuracy of all your information that they're collecting out there in the field. So here's an example. We replaced the water main between 9th and 10th Street on Mulberry this year. So this is a live example. You see this orange line is actually the line that the field crews put in there. That's their as-built information that comes back directly in the field. You're also going to see it on this computer here. So on this map is something that our directors, managers, things like that, as citizens call in, we can quickly provide them the information that is out from the field. So as they add this information, they're also collecting elevation information. So we're actually creating a 3D model of the water system underground. So one of the things that when you're going to design infrastructure underground is you want to know where all your conflicts are before you go in there and start putting infrastructure in. So this will easily allow us to go back to this area into the future for years and years to come and know where all of our infrastructure is underground. So locating things like that become a lot easier. We also have this pink line here. If you look at this, same line. So that was our old main. So we know that's abandoned. So if somebody else is digging in that area, they uncover this pink line because that pipe's still in the ground. It doesn't come out of the ground. We know to say, okay, yeah, that's an abandoned line. You don't have to worry about that if you need to dig into that.
Sure.
Okay. And so that's what we're using to be able to provide accurate and informed decisions to our personnel within the office here.
That is pretty high tech. That's pretty high tech. So basically, I mean, you're able to see, the infrastructure, so the water main, and then I'm guessing also is it called the laterals that come off the water main? Is that what these red?
Yeah. So those red lines. So that's another thing that we're able to do. So our field crews are we're getting rid of all the lead services. So if we go into an area and we're replacing a water main, those lead services, if there's a lead service still there, they have to be replaced at that time. So this allows us to plan out. So our field crews are informed. They know that red line actually means those are all copper services, so they have nothing to worry about. They're just going to do taps, tap them back into the new line, and they're ready to go.
So I guess, when did this all start? When did you guys put this together just to make this robust system? Because it seems to me it makes the job much easier just for everybody that does construction, any kind of maintaining pipes, things like that. But when did this all really start?
So we actually started around the 2001 timeframe was when we first started installing GIS on everybody's machines within the community. And so we started out building parcel layers, addressing, street center lines, and over this amount of time, we've come to where we've incorporated all of our utilities, all of our I couldn't imagine what we don't really have at this point. So,
I mean, I'm guessing there's some communities that don't even have this system at all, robust system like this. It's probably just all maps and paper maps, old school.
Yeah, there's still a lot of different ways to disseminate information and make decisions, and every community is different. More and more are going to this. You're seeing it spin up at a lot of different places.
So if you were to I'm sure you guys probably have this, but if you were to actually click on the water main too, does it show how large is the water main, all that information as well?
Yeah, so if I were to click on this water main here, I'm going to know everything about it. It's 6-inch, it's cast iron. It's a database behind the spatial component of it. So say this new valve here, I know that the type of valve it is, when it was installed, how many turns it takes to close the valve. So when they go out there and operate valves, they don't want to overturn them because they'll break it.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference. What direction it turns, so right hand or left hand open on a valve, because that can be different. And then also the big thing is providing that elevation back. So I know that at sea level, that's 607 feet above sea level. So we can go right back out there. If that were to get buried, if that valve box were to get buried, we could go right back out there with a GPS unit and locate it.
So not only is this beneficial for existing customers, but also future customers too. So if all of a sudden someone wanted to build, on the track, let's just say, where the water main is, how far it is, the size of it, elevation, and so that's just, they hit the road running right off the bat with any kind of development.
Yeah, and it really minimizes, when you have an accurate location on something, it's going to minimize that outage, so they know where to go to find that valve, and they don't have to go blocks and blocks to go find that valve to shut things down in that area, or turn things down in that area. Usually we don't shut the water main down completely.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else you'd like to share just regarding the GIS technology? It's a pretty cool system.
Thanks for the opportunity to talk about what we do here, and
yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much. And Muscatine, thank you so much for watching Muscatine in Focus. We will see you next time. Remember, be your best, and thank you.